What's going on, everybody? Hope you're doing well. In this video, we're going to talk about the Carrier Ornithopter and whether or not you should build one. Now, if you're one of those players who chases achievements, likes to get 100% completion, you're definitely going to have to build one. Vehicle Master requires construction of all vehicles. So, if that's you, then the short answer is yes. But for everyone else, is it really something we should invest in? Is it worth it? Let's cover that now. Let's take a look at my Carrier here. Now, in addition to the standard chassis, engine, generator, and main hull, you're going to have to construct two side hulls, two tail hulls, it's hard to say, and 8 wings in total. And also, you want to do that thruster. It comes in incredibly handy. So, this is everything that you need to get a complete Carrier. And here's a list of everything that's required in order to fabricate all of those pieces. When you look down at the bottom there, you see like the carbide scraps is only 15, 16 industrial pumps, etc. That's not too bad. Up there at the top though, 864 plastanium ingots, 579 spice melange. So this is quite an investment to get this thing built. And you have to ask yourself, especially if you're a solo player, is this something that I'm going to make use of? Am I going to get a reward for the effort of putting all of this stuff together and flying it around? So let's take a look at some of the ways that you are definitely going to benefit from having a Carrier. Here I drove over to the shield wall, just found some aluminum ore, and I'm using a standard Mark 6 cutter array. I think I've got some skill bonuses, so it kind of skews it, but we're doing a comparison, so it'll still work out. As you can see, I can pull 107 aluminum ore with the standard Mark 6 cutter array. Now I'm going to head back here because I passed one on the way up here. But I'm going to go to another aluminum node, and instead of using the cut array, I'm going to harvest it with this buggy. This is a standard Mark 6 buggy with a standard cutter array. So we'll get the basic idea, but let me come over here, and if you hit F2, once you get close, it'll pop you up into the turret, and here we go. Alright, and we're going to check our inventory real quick, and you'll see we got 107 with a standard cutter array from a node, but we got 435 from the buggy, from the same size node. So that efficiency is incredible. Using the buggy to mine is way better than using a cutter array. Now why would you want a Carrier? Well, if you've got to come over here to, let's say, the Hager Rift, you've got to drive through all of this mess and the quicksands. It's much easier to fly, and if you have a Carrier Ornithopter, you can carry a buggy over to that area to harvest. The same goes for Shoal, where you're going to find jasmium in order to make duraluminum. The only issue is you've got to find a place to park that thing. If you leave it out in the open and a storm rolls through, there is some potential damage you could have, but at least in Haga Basin, everything's PvE, so you don't have to worry about anything happening to it or somebody coming along and saying, hey, that's nice, I'll take it. But where it really shines is when you can take a buggy out into the deep desert. A while back they made a patch to where the Carrier Ornithopter could carry a vehicle by itself. You used to have to disassemble them, bring them over here, put them back together, but you can actually carry an intact vehicle across the overland map. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this buggy and I'm going to go on my standard route for stravidium and titanium in order to make plastanium ingots. And we're just going to drop the buggy off here, and I'm just going to park it right here in the ground. If you don't have a deep desert base, you're going to have to find a spot to park. This is stupid rock. I did a video about that deep desert base and harvesting. You can see that right up here. So check that out if you're interested in making a deep desert base, but technically you're not going to have to. But what I'm going to do here is we're just going to go until we can fill up this entire vehicle. We'll head off to the first one, and I'm going to keep basically it's not going to be exact. You can see here we're empty, but I'm going to keep a good estimate of how much time I spend in this mining process in order to completely fill the buggy up with material. Now once we get started here, we're gonna fast forward a little bit because this will take some time. And while we're doing that, I want to talk about another reason why you want to build yourself a Carrier Ornithopter, and that is for spice. If you've been harvesting spice in Haga Basin, you know you'll get, what, 700-800 depending on your skills and sets. But if you have a Carrier Ornithopter and you can build a sand crawler, you can increase your spice melange by incredible amounts, and you can do it without putting yourself in danger. There's a lot of medium spice blooms that happen in the PvE section. Um, you can see I'm in PvP right now, but you can go to any place in the deep desert below the halfway point of Sector E, and that's going to be a PvE area. And you'll be able to harvest with this. I actually made a video. It's right here. You can click on that to see about solo spice harvesting. And yeah, you will be amazed at just how quickly you can start accumulating melange. It's the most valuable resource in the universe, right? Well, it also helps you not only with other constructions, and as we saw before, just making this Carrier Ornithopter takes a ton of it, but the new specialization skills require melange. Weapons and armor in the tier 6 categories require melange, so you're going to find yourself to a point where you're going to start needing a lot of this stuff, and having a Carrier Ornithopter to pair up with a sandcrawler, it's going to make that so much easier and let you get so much more in about the same amount of time that you would spend in Haga Basin just trying to collect it with a compactor. There's also a thrill involved in solo spice farming, I have to admit, even if you're staying in the PvE sections and dodging worms. And it's even more so when you go to the large fields up in the PvP zone by yourself, which is risky, but again, risk and reward, right? But yeah, so also using it for spice collecting really increases your output. Now let's get back to this. As you can see, the sun has set a little bit, and it's actually getting ready to come back up. But we're getting close to getting full here, so we're going to snag some strontium here. And then we're going to snag this little bit right over here, and this is going to be enough to fill us up. And the total time was 11 minutes, 26 seconds. And I wasn't pushing it real hard. But you can do this several times and in several different routes. And you'll take a look here at the inventory. I'm going to clean it up so everything's kind of lined up here. But once we move this stuff around, this is the total amount. Now keep in mind I've got 3,500 as my volume because I've got the bigger buggy boot. So we are a little bit advanced here. But when you look at this total amount that I got, it's enough to make 650 plastanium ingots. I'm going to transfer a little bit over here just so I can squeeze a little bit more. And then we head back to the Thopter. And she's safe and sound. Nobody messed with her. No storms came through, so we're in good shape. And I'm just going to hop in here, and we're going to take that fully loaded buggy back to Haga, where we can process it. So total travel times probably 4 or 5 minutes, maybe, both ways. And about 11 minutes, 11 and a half in order to get a full buggy to make 650 ingots. So this is way worth it. Just on the ability you're going to have to take resources and turn them into finished products. It's really going to speed things up, and it's going to open up a whole lot of avenues for you for making other things, making other machines, making better equipment, and especially with the changes they've made and the new items coming with Chapter 3, it's when this video was made, you're going to need some of those resources, and this is how to really high power it. And it's all done through having the Carrier Ornithopter. So after all this, I would say absolutely yes. Even if you're a solo player, having a Carrier Ornithopter is well worth the investment. Just don't be too scared of that hill you have to climb. It is pretty big, but definitely worth it. Well, thanks a lot for watching. Hope this helps. And as always, I will see you out there, guys. Take care.